For me, when I saw the Robinson Cano thing, I was like, good, now let's go get DJ LeMahieu. There is no doubt in my mind now.
You got to give up on DJ.
Now we got to get DJ LeMahieu. We need him in 100. And I'm telling you right now, whether we put him at second base like the Yankees have used him or put him at third base and McNeil at second base, I want DJ LeMahieu right now. That tells me that we are all in. That's what I want. I want him, George Springer, Real Muto, and Bauer. Get me those four guys. Let's go. Let's call it a day. And then you can work on your analytics. You can work on your lower, part of your organization. You can mimic the Dodgers and do all that stuff. You get those guys, we got a real team. I'm telling you, got a real team. And the thing about DJ LeMahieu, the thing that I admire so much about what Brian Cashman did with that DJ LeMahieu signing was got him for basically bargain basement. And he gave you Hall of Fame seasons. He gave you Hall of Fame seasons. And I'm telling you, he is a great clubhouse guy. It's not about the media. It's not about his brand. It's not about anything other.
The Yankees will not let him walk to New York. Being a professional baseball player and doing the right thing. Hey, whatever it takes to get him, go get him. Whatever it takes to go get him, go get him. And by the way, this is just another mark on Brodie Van Wagenen's tenure here as one of the worst in the history of the freaking franchise. So another bad move. But I do not want to go backwards. I want to go forwards, and that's why I basically tweeted it yesterday. I said, "Oh, okay, too bad. Now go get me DJ. That's what I want." And you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed.
I'm like every other Met fan out there. I have wishes, I have needs, and I have wants. And that's the thing. I've been saying. By the way, I've been saying this about DJ LeMahieu since the middle of last truncated season that he was going to be a free agent, and I'd love to see him in a Met uniform, which is unlikely. I understand that. It's a wish. It's a hope. It's a dream. And I can dream. And I think Met fans can dream. It's okay to dream now. You know why? Because we have a dream maker running the franchise and owning the franchise.
Sure. I mean, I'm dreaming about Theo Epstein, and I know that that's probably unlikely. So I guess I understand where you're coming from. I just really feel like the Yankees and DJ LeMahieu were a perfect fit, and he's going to stay there. And that would be the shot across the bow that you have talked about that the Steve Cohen regime you feel like is coming in one way or another. But they're not going to get everybody. They're not going to get DJ LeMahieu, Trevor Bauer, George Springer, JT Realmuto, and Francisco Lindor. They're not going to get everybody.
Excuse me.
Not everybody.
I don't care. Everybody else seems to be spending Steve Cohen's money, so I'll spend it too. And I have a wish list. I have a Christmas list. I have a list.
And that's all of them. You want all of them.
Hell yeah, it's not my money. It's his money. And you keep telling me that he's the richest owner in baseball, so let's make this money work for us.
But I don't even know if it's smart to get everybody. I think you pick a couple of them.
Okay.
All right, so you pick
DJ
two.
LeMahieu.
All right, and what was the other one?
I would love to have George Springer. He's another local kid. He's an Avon, Connecticut kid. Get him back here. Let's go. Like Obi Toppin is a local kid. Great. I love it. And the fact
How does a guy like that not go to St. John's? That's what I think of.
You know what? Because when he was coming out of high school, he grew later. Like he matured
7 inches in a year.
Dude, I'm telling you, when I left high school, I was 175 pounds, and I had one college scholarship offer. And it was to the University of Maryland. Nobody else offered. I maybe could have went and played at Alfred University. I think
Alfred,
if I remember correctly.
Where the hell is that?
That's upstate New York, and I think they had a football team. I'm not sure, but I kind of remember that I might have gone to Alfred to go play football. Wow. Some school named Alfred. And don't make fun of the school.
I'm not making fun of the school. I never heard about it.
But I was a late bloomer in terms of maturity. Okay. I had to grow up. I had to physically grow up. I had to mentally grow up. I was a maniac. All right. So I had to be, beat up a little bit. I had to be told I couldn't do things. I had to deal with it. And
put in your place.
Right. And I kind of feel like Obi Toppin's a little bit of that. Like he is a late bloomer. He is a late maturer. And, ultimately ended up going to Dayton and led them to a 29-1 record. And all of a sudden, you saw this explosive offensive player take over college basketball last year.
High flying, exciting. Naismith Player of the Year.
Maybe he's like Kenny Walker.
Yeah, big dunks. Right. He's a big dunker.
Right. So,
and it's actually, I was worried that there would be a lot of guys in this draft, because we didn't see the NCAA tournament, that you couldn't really get a feel for, and the Knicks were going to take a guy that we're just guessing on. This is one of the guys we actually knew about, which is amazing. We even talked about it yesterday. I was like, Obi Toppin is going to go somewhere before or after the Knicks, and then he'll turn out to be a star. But no, you got him, and the fact that he wants to be here. This is two guys now in R.J. Barrett and Obi Toppin in back-to-back years that actually wanted to be Knicks.
He put that hat on, and the other thing too is they added that coach from Kentucky. I forget his name. And, he obviously knows Kevin Knox, and he knows the point guard that they just drafted quickly. So, to me, there's a lot of, all right, these are the first couple of decisions that Leon Rose has made. And I will say, I'm cautiously optimistic that they're doing the right thing. Now the question is, do they bring in a veteran point guard of some sort? Do they go after Russell Westbrook? Do they go after Van Fleet? We'll see. But as of right now, I kind of like what they did. I kind of like that they're sticking with their young players. I kind of like that they brought on one of Calipari's old coaches, maybe to unlock Kevin Knox and also unlock, this kid that they just brought in that they drafted last night. So, all right, I'm good with it. I'm not going to sit here and criticize something that I really don't know that much about, other than what I read and what I see and how I hear the NBA experts talking about it. And, of course, ESPN had to throw Woj up there. And Woj was, basically saying, this is the Knicks wanted all the whole time. So we as Knicks fans were like, well, okay, this is what they told him and this is what he's telling us. Then this is also a way for Leon Rose and the fellows over there to communicate to us fans.
Leon Rose and the fellas.
That's right. That's what they are. So I like it. It's good. Now,
and just one more thing on Obi Toppin. And there was some reaction out there from Knicks fans and media members that are saying, like, oh, there's too many forwards. There's too many guys, like Obi Toppin already on the roster. Who cares? The Knicks roster's terrible. If you got to trade Julius Randle, you trade Julius Randle. You take the guy that you want, regardless of the position, if you're the New York Knicks. You are not cherry-picking for need if you're the Knicks at this point in their franchise. You say, this guy's good, we like him, we're going to take him, and then you figure out the rest out, because there's really nobody on the roster outside of Mitchell Robinson and R.J. Barrett that I care about keeping now that Obi Toppin is here. You add him into that. Outside of that, who cares? Just get rid of everybody and then move on. Honestly, it's like, they got too many forwards. They got too many forwards. They got too many power forwards. Get rid of them all. The roster stinks.
By the way, we got a lot of left wings on the Rangers. We're not getting rid of any of those guys. They'll all figure out.
And you hate left wings.
They'll all figure out how to play, right? They'll all hopefully figure out what's going on, where they're supposed to be on the court. The one thing, that I keep reading about is his lack of defense. Well, Thibodeau's a defensive coach, so
lateral quickness.
Lateral quick, but he's a good rim protector.
Rim protector, lateral quickness.
The basketball.
Lateral feet quickness on defense. Got to work on it. Tibbs going to work on the lateral defensive movements.
Just the basketball cliches and the stuff that they were spewing last night.
I know.
Anyway, but the one thing you can say, watching those highlights, he's explosive.
It's exciting.
He's explosive and, runs the floor well.
He does run the floor.
Spreads it out, very good in space. And he's got good ups, as they say. Good ups, very good ups. Now, here's the thing about the whole Joe Judge thing, and I got to the bottom of it, all of it. What do you have there?
No, I was just I was trying to do that so you didn't notice and get distracted. This is an important thing for Eddie. He by accidentally gave to me.
Okay.
So I was just trying to tell him quietly. It's very important to the way he runs the show. He writes down all the breaks.
It's all handwritten and everything.
Right. So he gave it in my papers by accident. So I wanted to tell him before he went into the first break, but I wasn't able to do that without getting your attention.
He's getting his job done, but he's doing it old school with old school ways.
That's right.
There's no iPad. There's no computer.
Just a pencil.
It's a pencil and a piece of paper, and he's getting it done.
He is.
Just making the most of it, and I like it. And he's staring the virus right in the face and saying, "Go screw."
He's like, virus.
OBJ, baby.
Right.
So here's the
high
thing.
risk, high schmisk.
All right, you Giant fans, here's why you got to love your head coach. Okay, this is why you're going to love your head coach even more.
Yeah.
So as I understand this, Joe Judge basically went to Mark Columbo and told him, "Look, I'm bringing in an advisor, somebody who I trust, somebody who I know."
Google him.
Yeah, he'd been here before, and he was on the Super Bowl teams with Tom Coughlin as the offensive line coach. So when you bring in an advisor that has offensive line coach and history with the Giants in to advise you and oversee things,
sure,
you are now telling your offensive line coach you're not doing a good enough job. And if you are worth anything as an offensive line coach, you are going to stand up for yourself, and you're going to say, this is ridiculous. This is insulting. And I am not going to stand for this, which is fine because Mark Columbo should stand up for himself.
Yeah.
But Mark Columbo crossed the line with language, with the way that he reacted to this.
Yeah, so I went on a wild goose chase yesterday trying to figure out what the word was that he called him, because Kim Jones had tweeted out something along the lines of one of the worst words you could call somebody and that's what got it done. And then Art Stapleton, he quote tweeted, and he said, yes, the word that Joe Judge said on WFAN pales in comparison to what he was called by Columbo. So I had to figure it out. So I had to text it. The two that I guessed wasn't it, which was I was disappointed because I was like, it's got to be either this one or this one. Poopy head.
As I understand, it's a combination of two words.
Well, yes and no.
Yes and no.
Because you wouldn't call somebody the second half of that by itself. Really.
Right,
you kind of could. But
you could.
It's just a different meaning.
Right.
But, it is, it's a 3-syllable thing.
Yeah.
And it's bad.
Right.
It's something you don't want to be called.
Right.
But it's
especially if you're the head coach.
Right.
And you got to remember where this guy came from. This guy came from Nick Saban, and he came from Bill Belichick. And I can't ever imagine him being Joe Judge ever speaking this way to his boss, Nick Saban or Bill Belichick. There's a certain pecking order. There's a certain way you do things. And the thing that I do appreciate about Joe Judge is I do believe that he respects that and sees that when you do ascend to becoming a head coach, it's because of all the hard work and extra hours you've put in, everything that you've done to get yourself to this point. Now, Columbo was hired because he was brought here by Jason Garrett, and he was supposed to help Jason Garrett install their offense. So you want to have coordination between your play caller and play designer with your offensive line coach and with your running back coach and your tight end coach. Everybody's got to be in sync. It's like it's like going to see the Christmas show on
Radio City
Music Hall.
Back in the old days when people used to go and see stuff.
Right, and and you have the dancers there, and they're all
the
in
Rockettes.
Sync. The Rockettes are
guys
all in
dressed
sync.
as elves, and there's a Christmas
and everything's
spirit.
in sync. So that's an offense. Everything has to be in sync. Everything has to be tied together, and you also have to help certain players when those players are put in positions where they're probably not going to be overly successful. So let's take Andrew Thomas, for instance. Maybe, he was being asked to do things that he shouldn't have been being asked to do at this point in his career. Just started. So let's not put him over there on an island against great pass rushers and expect him to do it right out of Georgia. Let's help him. Let's make sure he understands what he's doing, and let's make sure we are teaching the proper technique and things of that nature.
Sure.
So I'm sure that since Joe Judge is not an expert offensive line coach, he's more of a overseer. He's a 1,000-foot guy. He's a 1,000-foot coach. He's not calling plays, but he is involved in the offense, the defense, and especially kind of like the way I like my coach to be in the first place.
Sure. I mean, we have criticized coaches in the past for not being that, like Rex Ryan and Adam Gase.
And that's why many people say that special teams coaches do make good head coaches because they have interaction with the entire roster because of all the different special teams.
John Harbaugh, Joe Judge.
Yes.
Let's go.
Well, yeah. So and this guy certainly has the youth, the energy, the understanding, the background, the resume made to ascend to where he is right now. So if Columbo calls him a name after he tells him he is bringing in a consultant, to me, and I'm assuming to Joe Judge both, that is completely crossing a line that you as the head coach now cannot stand for this. You cannot stand for this. You have to make a decision, which is a hard decision, to fire a coach right in the middle of the season because you have obviously a different philosophy and you're seeing things differently.
Also, you disrespected me to my face in a way that I cannot tolerate because it would show weakness if I didn't do something severe with you.
Right. So I understand Mark Columbo's reaction to it. I really do.
I crossed the line. No.
I understand the reaction, but I don't like the language and I don't like crossing the line. He has got to be whatever the head man wants, the head man gets. That's just the way it is. He is the head man for a reason. They've hired him for a reason. So now he is confronted with the Golden Tate situation. He's confronted with a pandemic. And now he's also confronted with an offense that's, turning the ball over too much. There's too much pressure coming from the offensive line. Underachieving to a certain point, but they have gotten better, as he told us yesterday, over the last 2 weeks. And he has seen improvement, at least he was telling us this, improvement with Andrew Thomas over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
After he got done with us, because he was right in the middle of the discussions of how he was going to do this.
So the timeline was that last night this interaction happened.
Not last night, the night before.
I mean, you know what I'm saying. 2 nights ago, before yesterday, before he was on. So the night before, this interaction happens. where a word is said. He called him a bunch of names. And
no fists were thrown.
No,
stuff.
Apparently that did not happen. That was thrown out by that guy who runs the Big Lead website and Fox Sports and everything else. But that wasn't.
Fake news.
Fake news said.
Right.
And then he called us, right?
Right.
You're right?
Yep.
All right, so he called us, and then after that, once he was done with our phone call, then he finalized the whole switch of
You're out,
guys.
You're out.
You're out. Get out.
And so, again, like I'm saying, I understand Mark Columbo's reaction. I don't appreciate the way he went about voicing his reaction to the guy that he is the boss to. And by the way, I do give credit now to Joe Judge, because Joe Judge could have easily said, you know what, I understand you're upset. We're just going to go through the year, and I'm going to have my guy in here. He's going to be watching all of the offense, looking at how everything's going, and we'll get to this at the end of the year. Now, it's not uncommon for first-year coaches to fire coaches from their staff after that first year. Now, I know my buddy Frank did it out in Indianapolis. Brian Flores did it down in Miami. I'm sure a number of coaches go through this where they hire a guy, and they think that they got the right guy, and then as the season goes on, and the pressure mounts and the anxiety gets to be pretty significant, all of a sudden, you have a difference of opinion, difference of philosophy.
Yeah.
And then you realize when it's all over said and done with, I don't want to deal with that. I got enough crap to deal with.
Gotcha. Yeah. Good catch.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me ask you a couple of questions. One, if you were really trying to insult another man, would you have gone with the word? Because we both know what the word is. Would you have gone with the word that Mark Columbo said to Joe Judge, or would have gone with another one? Because I think I would have gone with another one.
Yeah, I don't use that 3-syllable word much.
Well, neither do I. And that's
poopy head.
Right. It wasn't poopy head.
Poopy head.
So and then when someone told me what the word was, I was like, you know what? That's an underrated one. That's it. I hadn't thought that wasn't on my radar.
But it all depends on how you deliver the underrated word.
Well, I was underrated in the fact that it's very insulting, but it just wasn't on. It just wasn't on my radar.
Ass-looking face.
Yeah. No, but no, if you say to somebody,
ass-looking face.
You this.
Yeah.
But then you say, you effing this.
Yeah. Right to the face.
With a little emphasis on it.
Right.
And the way you say it, and you got to remember, Columbo's a former offensive lineman.
Yeah, he's
all right. So he's
Neanderthal tendencies. Yeah.
Well, he's an Italian from Boston, so he's pretty headstrong.
Right.
Okay, and he played at Boston College. He was a really good player. He was a first-round draft pick.
Yep.
And he's ascended to becoming the offensive line coach for the Cowboys.
Pretty good.
And obviously, Jason Garrett likes him. Now, I don't know what this means for Jason Garrett moving forward. Now, that's a whole nother set of circumstances. So again, the head coach is allowed to hire who he wants to hire. He's allowed to fire who he wants to fire. He is the CEO of that football team. And he has got his hands, which I love, in every aspect of that team. And if he feels like the offensive line is not playing up to what he believes they should be up to.
It's up to him to fix it.
He's got to get it done.
Right, because it falls at the feet of him, everything, because he's the head coach. So you know who's in charge. All right, the other thing, I happened to come across Mark Columbo's contact information. Just happened to find me. But so we need to make sure, because I think all of us agree that hearing his side of the story would be good. We have to figure out what's the best way to get him to come on.
Well, he's probably listening right now and just trying to feel out what's going on and what's being said.
I'll throw out a couple of scenarios. Now,
okay.
I'm good with the texting and the guests and stuff because I did that for a while. It's been many years, but I could do it, and I'm confident that I could get it done. I could. Then there's you, who if a text comes from you, it's like, ooh, wow, Boomer's interested in what I have to say. He's got the ultimate respect of the NFL community. I'll go to Boomer. I'll talk to Boomer.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.